Welcome back to Two Moms, Too Much Coffee. We have Tempest here and we have
Jhshell, hey guys.
Hey. So I actually would love to start this off with a funny story about how insane men are, to be honest.
Okay,
So
give it to me.
so um this shirt that I'm wearing is Adam has a I don't know, you can't really see it, but basically, it is a shirt that has been made by Adam. He had someone draw it for him and then had someone print it for him. And so, like, full on did the whole thing, designed a whole shirt for himself and his friends. So every summer, him and his friends, they call themselves the Boyos, 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 and they go on a trip to a location that one of them lives at. So they've gone to Austin because someone lives there. They've gone to San Diego because someone lives there. And now they're all coming to Columbus because Adam and another one of his friends lives here. And I had asked him like, "Oh, who's going?" Because they have a lot of friends that live here, besides just the boyos. So I was like, "Oh, well, who's going?" And it ended up being his response was, "Well, on Snapchat, I invited everyone in that group." So one, I didn't even know people still use Snapchat, but
Yeah, that's where I
they
was
like
going.
full on communicate as a group of 40-year-old men on Snapchat.
Not you putting out
And
Adam's age like that.
exactly. And he said that he's like, "Well, I think this one guy is going because he screenshotted the date in Snapchat, and the only way he knows that he screenshotted is because Snapchat tells you if they
hmm
screenshot in Snapchat." And I said, "So you don't know who's going, but you assume that this guy is going because he
This is
screenshotted the date."
screenshotted.
And he's like, "Yeah, obviously that means he's going."
I
And he
can't be.
never he never checked. He's just like, yeah, he's going because he screenshotted it. And I'm like, I'm just wondering, like, is this guy gonna show up? They
No
like
other checks
obviously
and balance. Like,
nope,
just
that's it.
I
That's
can't. I
it.
can't be in a man's head at all because meanwhile, like for any trip that we plan at all, we're literally in a group chat. We have everything planned. This is our itinerary. Like,
Exactly.
men are insane. You're right.
Yeah. I was just like, that is the craziest thing. That would cause me so much like anxiety. Like, is he going? Does he have somewhere to stay? Like all this stuff. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just assuming he's figuring it out.
It like tells you too, like I felt like the same thing when we were planning or when you guys are planning the Bachelorette and like comparing it, like Jaleisha and all of you guys had like literally outfits planned for the day and like boards and everything. And then next trip they got their flights and then they like figured everything when they were there. And it was just like very I'm like, oh, when is everything going to be planned? Like, when are you guys doing? And he's like, oh, we'll figure it out. They were going to Colombia, like not across the street. They literally went to a whole other country. Very different. Very just insane, I feel. Well, let
So,
us know
yeah,
how that
anyway,
goes.
men are insane. So, anything going on your end?
I don't even, every day is just like something new. I'm just so tired, honestly. Naya's been doing this like, we just been having false starts every single night. Every night
Mm,
she like will sleep for like 20 minutes and then she wakes up. Last night though, she woke up like 2 or 3 days. Is that your cat? I
yes.
literally looked around and was like, is that mine?
No.
But yeah, so like multiple times. Last night, she literally was like 3 or 4 times in a row. She kept waking up after like 15, 20 minutes. We did switch to the sleep stack, so that could have something to do with it for more. But then once she was down, she slept really good last night. So that was good. But I just can't figure out the false start, and it's just so exhausting. And then I started going down like a rabbit hole of putting her down drowsy but awake. And everyone's like, oh, you have to do it before they're 4 months, before the regression. And so now I'm like spiraling, like if I need to do it, I don't know. So I'm just kind of in like don't really know where to go from here. Maybe she's not a drowsy but awake kid. I don't even know what to do.
You know who was not a drowsy but awake kid? Abel.
And
That
they're
kid,
very much alike.
yeah,
So
you could not leave the room if he was awake at all. And then if you made a noise, like a creaking on the floor, he's back
Mhm.
awake. So
That's
I don't think that, and he sleeps, all that said, he sleeps just fine now. Like he sleeps through the
mhm.
night every night. So I don't necessarily think every kid could be a drowsy but awake kid. Like, I don't know. He's sensitive. He wants his parents around, and that's fine.
Naya. And like they're like, oh, if you don't figure it out before the regression, then when they wake up in the middle of the night, they're never, ever, ever gonna figure out how to go to sleep on their own. And I'm like, so we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you updated, but I don't think she's gonna be one of those kids. She needs the rocking and all the good things. But
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's okay. More love for you.
yeah, more snuggles, except for like when I first sit down to eat my dinner, and then she's like,
Oh, yes. I forgot. I used to eat dinner after we put him to bed. I totally forgot about that. We now do everything obviously before Abel goes to bed, so it's like
oh,
we eat at like 6 o'clock.
I was
But
gonna ask.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yep, and
moment
it's
you
all
think
based
you can
off her.
relax and you can't.
And it's always based off that last nap before bed, right? So, like, if
Hmm.
her last nap is later, then we're not eating till later. So, you know, but it's okay. I'm doing great. I'm fine.
Totally. Yeah, we're not losing our minds at all over here.
Not
That's
you
what
losing her
motherhood's
mind.
for.
But it does bring like a big light on like the unrealistic view of everything you saw like on television of like how
Yes.
parents are and how easy it was that they just like put their baby down to sleep in the crib, wide awake or fast asleep, and like they didn't have a startle reflex or anything. And they quietly shut the door and baby stayed asleep for the rest of the night. Angry.
Yep.
That's how I feel. Rage for watching all of that and like thinking that's reality. Not at all, but it's fine, which, good segue into what we're talking about today.
Yes, absolutely. I am a TV fanatic, as I know you are, but I don't know if anybody else knows that. I watch a lot of TV throughout the years, and I've rewatched a lot of my favorite shows. And so, my favorite one that I want to talk about is Brooke Davis, One Tree Hill. So, Brooke Davis, if you do not know, I think one show's like 8 seasons. So she becomes a mom, I think it's season 7. So it's pretty late on in the series. But she starts out being, like this high school cheerleader. They jump in time. She's a fashion mogul, like a millionaire, doing the thing. And then she wants to become a mom. So she ends up trying to adopt kids and then ends up being pregnant with twins, which is seems so easy, right?
Right.
That's totally fine. And so Brooke is one of my favorites because she is who I aspire to be in the most unrealistic way possible. Like, she is proof that you can run a fashion empire and then still
Mhm.
somehow remember that snack time is happening and
Mhm.
just doing all the most wonderful things with twins, nonetheless.
But
Yeah, so she's like the best mom apparently. She can handle all the diapers, all the meltdowns, and she's like doing it with the smile and heels on. Heels.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just like
Yeah,
not you
always.
like like running from kid to kid with heels on and a mini skirt. And granted, I think she's like 24 in this show
Yeah,
too
I was
at
gonna
the
say they're young,
time.
like young, and that you forget until you're actually that age where you're like, okay, they were doing all of these things. She was a fashion mogul, literally like right out of college, or was it right out of college, right out of high school or something?
Yeah, right out of high school actually, because I don't think she went to college. I think she just
Right.
started this. Yeah, because she started Clothes Over Bros in high school, and then she just
Mm,
apparently became a millionaire from it, which is crazy.
reality.
And her husband at the time took one of the twins with him to, I don't know, he was going to a job or something like that, and left the kid in the car. The kid literally almost died from heat exhaustion because this kid was in the car. Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
is it
And he
Julian? Is
was
that her
like,
husband at the time?
yeah. Yeah, I think they were married at the kid because they were married before they had kids. And
Yeah.
so yeah, he left one of the twins in the car and like ended up spiraling and she ended up like forgiving him and it being okay. And before becoming a mom when I watched that. I'm like, totally, I get it. After watching, I don't know if
Totally.
I could. I mean, the kid was totally fine. Like nothing happened besides obviously a really big scare. But I, she forgave him real easy. I don't think I would have.
I would highly struggle. It would just increase probably my postpartum depression, anxiety, everything, because I would never feel comfortable ever leaving my child again with her dad. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
crazy. But it's totally fine. That's Brooke
Totally
Davis.
fine. She could do it all, including, her husband being incredibly aloof and leaving their kid in the car.
No biggie. No problem.
Yeah, but she did, like Brooke is she could do everything, but she does have like such like a mama bear energy. Like she protects her friends, she protects her family, even though she like has a terrible relationship with her own mother. And so
Yeah.
she's great. She set a very unrealistic standard though, but
Yeah.
she is great. And if I could be like Brooke, I would for sure.
Yeah. I agree. I love her, but she's like Sophia Bush is just one of my favorite actresses in general. So anything that she's in, I'll be like, I aspire to be. She could literally be a fashion mogul in one episode or one show, and then like another show, she was like a surgeon or something, and I would want to do both just because of her. I'm obsessed with her, so it's fine.
Yes,
Um,
same.
it kind of makes me think of mine. One of mine is also twins, and I don't know if you ever watched Private Practice, but it's a spinoff
No,
from
I
Grey's
actually
Anatomy.
I didn't. I watched some of it and then I didn't end up finishing it.
Oh, my gosh. So One Tree Hill watched a million times. Grey's Anatomy watched a million times. Private Practice also have watched a million times. I don't know how you haven't finished it. It's just one of my favorite shows. Charlotte King is one of the doctors on there. When she first comes onto the show, she's chief of staff of like one of the main hospitals, and she's just like she's one of the characters no one likes. And then she joins the practice, spoiler alert, and everyone ends up, bonding with her, whatever. So she ends up dating and getting married to one of the other doctors. So two doctors, mom and dad, at this private practice. And Charlotte gets pregnant with twins. She gets pregnant with these twins, and one of the realities or realistic aspects of it was that she was like miserable pregnant. Like she at first didn't even know if she wanted to be a mom. Then she became a mom, or she got pregnant, and then she just was like having difficulty like really connecting, which I think is a true thing that a lot of moms go through. But then she has these beautiful twins, and then they just go back to work as normal as doctors, just like both of them having a full on schedule. I'm like, where are the kids? I mean, I'm sure they can afford a nanny, but like, are you stressed? Are you tired? Do you have anxiety? Did you guys figure out a nanny? Did you figure out daycare? Like, what happened? No, they just
Yeah.
went to work and continued with their full on, like, full caseloads. And that was, she had these twins, and then that was it. And I'm like, where, for me, like going back to work, I work from home. And like going back to work, working from home was hard. Where is it where it's like you can just go back to work as, a surgeon and as a pediatrician and everything's fine? And I feel like that was one of the things where it's like, oh, figuring that out is super easy. They do it on TV all the time. It's like, it's mind blowing, honestly.
Yeah. It's so funny to me when they just act like their kids just don't exist at work on TV shows. It's like, "Oh, what kids?" No, like I'm not feeling bad about this at all.
No, yeah. Like,
And
and then you
twins
randomly hear about
nonetheless.
them. Yeah, twins no less. And then like 3 episodes later, you're like, oh yeah, they had kids because I haven't heard about them in forever because they're not worried about them at home or anything. They're just at work. It's just crazy. So I feel like that is something that always happens in shows. Is just like they go back to work and that's it and that's done and everything's easy again after the baby comes out. You just got to get
Of
pregnant
course.
and then it's good.
Yeah, rarely any healing time, the babies, they take bottles, totally fine. There's no scares with like caretakers or daycares. Everything is totally fine.
Always.
Yep. Another one that I really like, I'm assuming you're finished. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was about to full on cut you off. But another one that I really like, she actually is a mom of older parents, but Camille Braverman on Parenthood.
I've never seen
Have you
that.
never watched Parenthood?
No.
My goodness, you'll love it. We love a good ensemble show. Parenthood
Mm-hmm.
is chaos. Each one of them, I think there's four kids. Each one of them are parents in their own right. And then
Mm-hmm.
the mom, Camille, is parents of the adults. So they kind of talk about all different families aspects as well as like the family as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, I'm gonna ruin a little bit of it for you, but you really should watch it. Um, so Camille, I would say she's probably in like her 60s,
Mm-hmm.
and she has this beautiful family, which you can see like on the outside, like everybody looks happy and great and they all get together for dinners, but she also shows you like the true, like how women have lost themselves in motherhood. And so they in the show, basically she's just like holding everybody together. People lean on her, they call her, they her husband also is like a mess in his own right, and so she's just like, you know what, I'm tired. She's like, I have been doing this forever and I want me back. I want to do all me. And so she basically says, like, I want to go to Italy. I want to go to Italy and I want to become an artist and just do my little like peace, love. Wait, what is it? Not peace, love. Eat, pray, love.
I
My
love.
little, yes, my little eat, pray, love moment, come back and everything will be okay. And her husband is like, no. And she's like, well, then I want a divorce because I'm going.
What?
Yeah. Yes. She basically is like, I'm not, like, if you can't support me after I've done all this for the family and I'm putting myself forward once, then I don't need to be with you. And I just kind of really loved that as like a woman and a mom where you're just like I'm gonna have a partner that is beneficial for me. And then on top of that, my kids are grown, healthy, and fine. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna put me first.
Mm-hmm.
And so she does end up going to Italy, spoiler alert. And she also wants to sell their house because their kids are grown. It's a big house that she doesn't want to take care of anymore. Like everyone is like, you can't sell the house. And I just also think that that's really interesting. Me and you both went through military life. So we don't have like a house that we're like, this is our house and we love it and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I don't think in my childhood I had a house longer than like 4 years maybe,
Yeah.
and that was in high school. And so I don't have a house that's like, oh, my childhood home, but apparently the
Mm-hmm.
Bravermans, they do. And Camille wants to sell it, and she's just like, I want to sell it. What's the point? Like, you guys have your own families. We can go to everybody else's house. You don't have to come to mine. And everyone is just like, you can't do that. So makes me sad because she's just like trying really hard to put herself
Yeah.
first. And also, I actually think she's a great, like, shows how good it is to be a mom. She doesn't necessarily say it's not necessarily a bad thing with her because she does such a great job raising her kids. It's like they all have their issues, and I think it's really realistic, at least for Camille. The other
Yeah.
parents, they all have they have big issues you could probably go real in depth on, but so that's not why so that is why I didn't pick them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
But
fair.
she's great. And so I know that she like just wants to get away, do her own thing. And I love that for her. So great
Mm.
mom. And if you haven't seen Parenthood, that's only one line that I just ruined for you, one storyline I just ruined for you. So watch the other
Hopefully
ones.
my mom's brain will forget it by tomorrow.
Exactly. And that's the perks of being a mom. We don't remember anything.
I guess that like makes me think of one of mine who it's older kids too. Have you seen Georgia and Jenny?
Yes, yes. Love Georgia and Jenny.
I
I
love
didn't even think about that
Jenny
one.
and I love Georgia. She has some unrealistic and some realistic points of her life, of course. But first off, let's start with her unrealistic views of how she dresses. It's like Brooke Davis. Girl is, I know that her kids are older. So a little bit different than when you have a whole infant, but girl is always dressed to the nine. She always has on heels. She always looks good. Makeup's always done. Hair's always done. When do you have the time? I mean, like, even when you have older kids, like, when do you have the time in between, like, I mean, for us, we were like in cheer and competition cheer and like track and doing all these things. I'm sorry, my mom did not dress to the nine every single day of her life. Georgia does. But then I also love it because she's also just, I don't know, she's like what I would want to like try to aspire to like dress like that, even though it's not going to happen. Um, but also, she comes from trauma and then she like tries to build this life for her and her kids. And although like the ways that she went about it are pretty messed up, but also like she was a mom that showed like she would do anything for her kids. Even like the part of the show, which spoiler alert, when she found out that her husband was acting inappropriately with Jenny, and she was like, no, not promoting doing anything like this, but she was like, no, and she poisoned him and was like, absolutely not. But you hear about those stories of like moms, these really sad stories of moms not believing their kids from like the
Mhm.
beginning. And I can't even fathom like if Naya told me anything like that, I'm sorry, I'm not questioning it at all. And she didn't even question it. She was just like, yeah. And so I feel like that right there is like prime example of a mom that is gonna stand for you 10 toes down, but also the unrealistic aspects of like, girl, you were doing a lot of things that maybe you were going a little overboard with. But I love Georgia. I love that show. I love George and Jenny. I love their relationship. But, just some things too. And also like the conversations that she would have with Jenny. I feel like that's also hard. I feel like it's really important and something that I want to make sure that I input with Naya is making sure you have that comfort from the beginning so that your child can come to you with any concern and you have that like open communication. And I feel like that can be really hard if you don't implement that really early on. And George and Jenny, they had that relationship and they were talking about some things that I would never talk to my mom about. But hopefully Nia doesn't feel that way and she wants to talk to me about everything. So definitely vote yes for Georgia. I love her.
Yes. Yeah, I I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend until I was 16. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-hmm. And
And
I'm pretty sure.
which is like it's one of those things where it's like you want your kids to come and talk to you, but then you implement the like most insane things ever, like no boyfriend till you're 16.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
like that's just
Hmm.
never gonna happen. So agreed, like having an open relationship with boundaries is what I strive to have as well. I think Georgia's the mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Georgia's got a some issues with boundaries, I think, because
Mhm.
she's so young. That she grew up basically Jenny and Georgia grew up together, even though she's her mom. And so she had a little boundary issue, but I definitely like I appreciate how close they are. Like I think that that's
Mhm.
really sweet. I would hope that Sequoia and Abel would both, come to me with anything that they need without feeling judged. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to that age because I feel like that's going to be a whole fun season of our life,
Exactly.
raising teenagers. Um,
Yeah. Speaking of boundaries, though, that's something that like I have thought about a lot because I feel like I struggle with the idea of like not wanting to shelter Naya too much, but then still like wanting to give her freedom, but then keeping those boundaries. Like I know for me, like in high school, my dad didn't give me a curfew. I didn't have one, but I knew not to come home at 2 in the morning. Like it was like a respect thing. Like I had enough boundaries. I had enough respect, but I feel like if I was like super sheltered, I would have probably like went crazy, but like I wasn't. So I knew your dad didn't tell you to be home at 12, but you probably should be home, at a decent hour. So I feel like that's a good point of just, Georgia did push the boundaries, but like, how am I going to implement that once Naya gets older is something that obviously I have some time to get there, but something I've thought about already.
yep, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the curfew thing is so funny to me too because my parents were the same way. I had a curfew, but I was supposed to call if I'm going to be late, and they wouldn't care if I was late. So basically, like no curfew, but just like let me know where you're at.
Yeah,
Because I feel like I might air tag my children. We'll see.
probably. Yeah, because I'm going to know. I
Yeah,
know
like
because
I just need to know where you're at. Like
yeah,
I don't
you
know.
probably took to school water bottles filled with vodka. I don't know. I don't know why you would do that because like I didn't do anything like that. But,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
just from like, or like take your mom's coolers out of, put them in the bag and take them to school. I don't know about that, but you might do things like that. So I don't know.
We all go through a phase.
Don't not co-sign me like that was only my face. That was our face.
Yeah, no, I used to talk about how I would have vodka in my Gatorade when I'm pretty sure it wasn't just me, that's for sure, but vodka in my Gatorade when we were cheering on the sidelines. And I'm like, that is the most insane thing. What is wrong with high school Tempest? Like, I do not drink like that. And one, vodka and Gatorade is disgusting.
Disgusting. And not even good
Like,
vodka. The plastic
yeah,
bottle of pop off,
pop
whatever
up
it's called.
what they clean when you go to a hibachi grill, they clean the grills with it. Like
Disgusting.
so disgusting. Well, anyway, don't have to relive our past. My next mom that I really like, another one that I strive to be or could, would love to be, but also not because anyway, let's talk about it. Kate Foster on Working Moms.
Yes, good
she's the
one.
she's the brunette on Working Moms, the one that owns a PR company, and initially worked for a PR company. She just like has it all. She has a kid. They're in Canada, so they get a year for their maternity leave,
Mhm.
which is hilarious to me. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure she goes back a little early, which is like a plot line that she's like going back earlier than a year, which is funny to me because I'm like, I get bored real easy. And no offense to
Mm.
Sequoia, but I would love to be able to work a little on the side right now because I get bored. So a year, while great cuddling time, I think I'd be losing my mind too. And so she goes back to work like a little early and she is like so excited to start working again. And it's unlike there's other parents that are other moms that are like, I need to work. I don't want to go back to work. And so I like just really relate to Kate because I don't think I could be a stay-at-home mom. I think I would lose my mind. And but she's like can do it all. She's just like constantly like juggling the babies with like all her work. So she's got her work phones and she's just doing everything and it's really I don't know if I'd strive to be that, but I certainly admire that she's trying real hard to be everything. Um However, though, like in the show, she like gets really upset because she keeps missing milestones that her baby's doing while she's not home. And so like the baby started walking and so she's like working and excited about like closing deals, but then also is like at home crying with her wine because she's missing out on her child's milestones and can hard relate to that because when you're working, that's just what happens. They grow up and they're doing things that you just like don't you just don't get to see all the time because you can't be with them all the time. Like for example, Abel, he went to daycare and he came home learning the Itsy Bitsy Spider, like having learned it. And like just singing it and me and Adam were like, where did he learn that? What the heck? Like,
Mhm.
it's just so many things. It's like you're just out in the world without us learning. And it's so
Yeah.
crazy that that happens. And so I could totally empathize with Kate where she's just like upset about it. And then obviously there's like the aspect of her going back to work and she's got a pump in the bathroom and she's like
Uh,
pumping in a stall while on a work call and it's really funny because if you pump you just like sleep and hear the noise like that noise
mhm.
of the suction of it the motor of the pump all of it you just hear it all the time and so it's funny because she's on a call and they're like asking like what's that noise like what's going on and I completely get it and it's even funnier because they don't have like a space for her to be pumping at work. She
Right.
has to do it in a bathroom stall, which my first
Yeah.
real job out of college, their pumping and breastfeeding place was also in the bathroom. It wasn't in a stall, but there was no door. So it's like it's just in the bathroom. There's a chair and a mirror, but nothing. And I didn't even think much of it because I wasn't a mom then. But now looking back, I'm like, that's the most insane place. Like you couldn't just like get an office for them to be able to pump in or, breastfeed or whatever you're doing in there, but having to make them do in the bathroom. Wild, wild.
Crazy.
Yeah, but all of that, she just like is definitely all for her kid, doing it all for her kid, which is really, really nice. But sometimes that means she has to like skip meetings, and I can totally get that because after Abel, I was like, well, I guess before Abel, I was like, I'm going to be CEO. I'm going to do it all. And then after Abel, I was like, I just want to come in and do a good job. I would love promotions. That's great. But I want to also be able to be home with my kids. And so I just did not, I don't want to be CEO anymore.
Yeah. I definitely like that whole entire pumping, working, all of that is just, it's just screaming at me right now because, as you know, I just got my promotion and I have my first trip, my first work trip, and it's like a
Mhm.
leadership trip. So all of the leaders were all going. I'm in Florida and we're all going to Jersey where my job's headquarters are. And when I found out, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like supposed to be a 4-day trip. And I was like, what am I going to do? I'm fully breastfeeding. Like it just like everything, all my bells were going off of just like things that I hadn't thought about yet, especially with Naya being so young. And I ended up having to like talk to my boss of being like, I don't think I can be away for 4 days, like while my daughter's breastfeeding. She's eating every 2 to 3 hours, things like that. And we ended up being able to modify my trip. So I'm not going for as long, but they, let me know you can pump as much as you need. And then they're going to pay for like the milk stork where they like ship your milk for you. But I'm still like, that's great. That's amazing. They're paying for that. But in my head, I'm still like trying to process like pumping at the airport. If my timeline goes with me having to pump on the plane, and then I'm ordering like, pump wipes and I'm ordering a wet dry bag. And I'm like, still like all of these like little details just to go on a 2-day trip because she's not going to be there. And it's like a part of a working mom's life where it's like, I aspire. I'm just not someone that likes to be stationary in what I'm doing or stagnant. I want to keep going. So I aspire to continue moving up, but I'm like, it's just so hard as a mom to continue doing that. And then I'm also like, oh no, what if she picks up like a skill in those 2 days? Because that's very possible. They wake up doing new things all the time. So I'm
Yep.
like, what if I miss something? So I definitely, yeah, I can feel that with Kate. And also I'm thinking, where am I going to pump? Do they have a pump room? Like, I don't know anything because I never work at headquarters. So just like things that I'm just, having to think about now, it's just very different.
Yeah, and my friend, she had done that milk stork, and I think she had a really great experience with it. So hopefully you also do. But like you just said, like it's nice that your work is doing that, but you still have to buy a lot of extra stuff just to make that happen. And then obviously like you're without your kid, and so it's so traveling with having a little kid is so hard on moms. Like I couldn't imagine. Well, I just feel like men bosses, I don't think that they would understand nearly as much as a woman boss would, because it's just there's so much that goes into it that they just don't think about. And they're like, well, you could just pump and just be there. It's totally fine. And like it's like there's so many other aspects to it. So
So
I'm
many.
really happy that your work is going to help pay for that, though, because that
Yeah.
it's one step closer to helping the women of the U.S. when they're
Yes. I
moms.
mean, it definitely helps. I have male bosses too, but I have women bosses and I'm sure that's really helpful too. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. I'll send an update on how that experience is. We'll see. My last one is my, which
Hold,
makes
hold
very,
on, sorry, let me mute.
oh yeah, it's about me. Is good old Meredith Grey because I love Grey's Anatomy and let's just dig into it.
Yes.
So Meredith Grey, I mean, first of all, it's Meredith Grey. So we're talking about Meredith Grey from Grey's Anatomy. I don't know if you guys have started seeing the new show that she's in. What's it called? Good American Family. Don't
Yeah.
think about that while we listen to this, okay? Because she's a different mom on that. All right. Well, don't think about that. Think about Meredith Grey on Grey's Anatomy, who adopted sweet Zola, and she had Bailey. So she has 3 kids, right? And she's an award-winning surgeon. And the unrealistic aspect of it is once again, she did adopt a child and have a baby and had 2 babies and went back to work and was fine. Granted, she's filthy rich, with her and Derek.
Yes, yeah.
So, sure, several nannies without even blinking an eye. But still, like, the same thing with Charlotte King, like the unrealistics of like, are you upset leaving? Are you okay with leaving? Like, how did you come up with your nanny? Like anything like that. We don't talk about that at all in the show. It just, she goes back to work full time after having her kid. But the things that she had dealt with in general, like we all know Meredith Grey had some trauma and did not have a great mother and ends up being an amazing mother. Her husband dies traumatically right after she has, I
Spoiler
think it's
alert.
the spoiler alert, my bad.
Right, spoiler alert of the 24 season show.
Worst episode. It's literally like I feel like I can't even watch it after this episode. But
Makes me cry.
if you don't know about Derek, don't listen for like 5 seconds. Dies. And she ends up being a single mom of 3 kids and continues being an amazing surgeon, an amazing doctor, an amazing friend, an amazing like parent and supportive and everything like that. And so it's like when you already had trauma and then your own mother wasn't a great mother, and then you can go one of two ways. You could either replicate that or you can make sure that you are not like that. And she went the opposite and made sure that she was supportive. And let's not forget the cute episode of her where she and Derek, they did adopt Zola, who is that beautiful little black girl. And they had the episode of learning how to do her hair, which I think is huge when you adopt a brown child. That's a part of our culture. You need to know how to do their hair. So of course, I aspire to be like Meredith Grey. I mean, like, there's just no question about it. She's just Meredith Grey. I mean, it's self-explanatory on that one.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I debated on talking about her because she's actually one of those that I'm like, there's a few episodes where her kids are never talked about. She's like,
Yeah.
her kids aren't there. Like, like what's going on? Where'd your kids go, Meredith?
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I won't. But yeah, she's great, obviously, and she loves and adores those kids. So that's a good one to bring up for sure. And obviously, she's so accomplished. So who doesn't love a mom that can do it all?
Right.
But you
Yes,
don't have to.
absolutely. You don't
You
have to
can
do it all.
you
Yeah.
could do you could do just mom, and everything's fine. Okay, so our unsolicited advice segment today is again from the new parents, Reddit. How much did you let your little one sleep after shots? Not sure if I should attempt to keep her up at all. She just had her 6 month shots yesterday. Obviously, super sleepy. Did you let them sleep as much as they needed, or would that mess up nighttime? I was planning on just letting her sleep as needed today. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I would be letting, I mean, Naya's only had her, her shots, her newborn and her 2 month shots. And even with that, I let her sleep. We weren't in really a routine, but when she has her 6 month shots, I plan on doing the same thing. I'm not waking her up. A lot of the times it's one of the symptoms is they're going to be more, fatigued, more tired, things like that. So I would not be waking Naya up. I feel like she'd be fussier if I were to wake her up. If that means that my nighttime sleep is a little bit off and she ends up being up a little bit more, so be it. But I'm definitely not waking her up when she's just got what is it, 4 shots? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure with the 6 month if it's four or not, but I mean any shot, like the COVID shot knocked me out. That's just once. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I agree. I think being a baby is like the hardest thing you could possibly do. They're like constantly growing. Their little brains are growing, their bodies are growing. They're trying to figure out how everything works. And then we give them vaccines, which I am pro vaccination, but
Hmm.
it would just knock out anybody, let alone a
Hmm.
baby that's like doing so much. And so I think let them sleep. Let them sleep as much as they want to. Like you said, like if my nighttime sleep is a little off because they had got vaccines that day, I will do that for them. That's perfectly fine because it is, I think they just know their bodies more than we do. So waking them
Hmm.
up, I just think will make them more cranky, to be honest. So, and hopefully, which with Abel, the vaccines honestly weren't too bad. Extra sleepy, but he always slept again. That honestly, I think it made the night sleep a little better because he slept through the
Yeah.
night. Maybe gave him some Tylenol or something.
Mhm.
just in case, or not, I guess not just in case, but gave him some Tylenol if he had like a fever. And
Yeah.
that always helped too to, help through the vaccine. So my unsolicited
Agreed.
advice is let him sleep.
Let him sleep. Agreed. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, that's the end of our episode today. And please feel free to like and subscribe on our YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We would love to hear what you're thinking. Look at our shorts, leave some comments, chat with us, DM us, whatever you need. We're here. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Two Moms, Too Much Coffee. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to leave us a review.